I picked out this story just for you. Let's listen to it.
Chapter 1. Descent into the Abyss. The Krill Hive Caverns were a festering wound in the crust of the dead planet, a subterranean labyrinth of bioluminescent fungi and calcified resin. The air was thick, smelling of ozone, rotting organic matter, and the metallic tang of dried blood. In this suffocating dark, two opposing forces converged, driven by the singular, desperate need for the high-yield bioplasma deposits hidden deep within the hive's heart. Leading the vanguard for the Imperial Coalition, a massive interstellar body built upon rigid order, hierarchy, and technology, was a seasoned Imperial starship commander. The commander was a hardened veteran of a dozen campaigns. While possessing physical strength that was merely average for a frontline combatant, the commander's mind was a razor-sharp instrument, characterized by an exceptionally high degree of situational wits. Furthermore, the commander possessed an above-average reservoir of sheer luck, a trait that had kept them alive when standard Imperial tactics failed. Flanking the commander was an Imperial starship enhanced soldier. Serving as the muscle and the shield for this subterranean expedition, the enhanced soldier was a marvel of the Coalition's bioengineering, strictly adhering to the faction's doctrine of overwhelming technological superiority. The soldier moved with terrifying, mechanical precision, scanning the shadows of the Krill Hive Caverns for any sign of movement. Opposing them in the darkness was a figure representing the Syndicate Collective, a sprawling network thriving on profit, chaos, and the black market. This was a notorious Galactic Trader. The Trader was not a warrior. In fact, their physical strength and tactical wits were demonstrably below average. However, the Trader survived the unforgiving galaxy through an almost supernatural, exceptionally high level of luck. Where others calculated and planned, the Trader stumbled blindly into fortune, dodging death by mere millimeters. Accompanying the Trader was a feral and twitchy Junk Scavenger. The Scavenger, heavily reliant on the Syndicate's ethos of chaotic survival, carried a cobbled-together arsenal of salvaged weaponry and jury-rigged tech. They scurried along the cavern walls, setting up microsensors and traps to ensure the Trader would have an advantage in the impending clash. Both factions knew what was at stake. This was not a diplomatic mission. It was a pure, unadulterated resource scramble. Chapter 2. The Prize and the Predators. The bioplasma deposit pulsated at the center of a massive, vaulted chamber within the Krill Hive Caverns. It was a raw, volatile energy source encased in a hardened, amber-like shell. The sheer value of the payload could power an Imperial dreadnought for a decade or make a Syndicate warlord unfathomably rich. The Galactic Trader, sweating profusely in a bespoke hazard suit, slipped on a patch of glowing lichen and tumbled down a steep incline. It was a clumsy, foolish maneuver born of below-average situational awareness. Yet, this phenomenal stroke of high luck allowed the Trader to slide perfectly under a sudden, deadly spray of acidic webbing expelled by a dormant Krill sentry. The Trader landed right at the base of the bioplasma deposit, gasping for breath, but entirely unharmed. Above on the ridge, the Imperial starship commander calculated the odds. The commander's high intellect instantly recognized the chaotic variable the Trader represented. The commander signaled the Imperial starship enhanced soldier. Without hesitation, the enhanced soldier executed a suppressive maneuver. Unleashing a devastating barrage of heavy plasma fire into the cavern ceiling, the soldier brought down a rain of stalactites, effectively cutting off the Junk Scavenger from reaching the Trader. The Scavenger shrieked, returning erratic fire with a modified nail driver, but the sheer, disciplined technological force of the Imperial Coalition kept the Syndicate support pinned behind a mound of alien refuse. "Secure the perimeter," the commander ordered, the voice a cold, synthetic rasp through the helmet's vocoder. "The payload is mine." Chapter 3. Blood and Bioplasma. The Resource Scramble fundamentally demanded a brutal contest of physical exertion and unpredictable fortune. The commander rappelled down the cavern wall, boots hitting the spongy floor with a heavy, authoritative thud. The Galactic Trader scrambled frantically, trying to attach a grav winch to the massive amber shell. "Step away from the asset, Syndicate scum," the commander warned, drawing a heavy kinetic sidearm. The trader, panicked, yanked a concealed thermal detonator from their belt and threw it. Due to the trader's below-average combat wits, the throw was wildly off-target, bouncing off a resin pillar. But the trader's incredible, uncanny luck intervened once more. The detonator exploded near a subterranean pressure vent, causing a shockwave that knocked the commander's sidearm into the glowing abyss. The conflict dissolved into a raw, brutal, physical struggle. The commander lunged, tackling the trader to the cavern floor. The trader thrashed wildly, attempting to gouge the commander's eyes, driven by the desperate panic of the black market. The Krill Hive Caverns seemed to pulse around them, the bioluminescence strobing as the two figures rolled through the corrosive muck. The Junk Scavenger, realizing their patron was in mortal danger, triggered a jury-rigged emp-grenade. It detonated with a blinding flash, temporarily scrambling the enhanced soldiers' targeting optics. It was a moment of pure chaos, exactly what the Syndicate relied upon. Chapter 4. The Grip of Order. Despite the blinding light and the chaotic environment, the physical disparity between the two combatants became undeniable. The Imperial starship commander possessed an average, strictly maintained level of physical strength. In contrast, the Galactic Trader was physically weak, entirely unused to the visceral, bone-breaking reality of close-quarters combat. The commander absorbed a frantic, poorly aimed punch to the jaw, tasting copper. With a ruthless application of superior physical leverage, the commander pinned the trader's arms against the cavern floor. The commander's hands, reinforced by the gauntlets of an Imperial uniform, clamped around the trader's throat. "Your luck," the commander whispered, leaning in as the trader gasped for the putrid air, just ran out. With a final, brutal surge of strength, the commander struck the trader across the temple, rendering the Syndicate operative instantly unconscious. Order and hierarchy had crushed the chaotic element. Above, the Imperial starship enhanced soldier recalibrated their optics and stepped over the smoldering barricade, neutralizing the fleeing Junk Scavenger with a single, clinical shot to the leg. The cavern fell silent, save for the rhythmic hum of the bioplasma. The commander stood up, bruised and covered in alien filth, but victorious. They attached the Imperial grav winch to the payload. The Resource Scramble was over. The Imperial Coalition had claimed its prize from the depths of the Krill Hive Caverns.